Please welcome Schuknecht.
As Natasha mentioned, my company is 2 Mile High Marketing, and that photo there is actually taken from my house. So if that doesn't give it away, I didn't come from New Jersey. I actually named my business after the location where I live. So you know Denver as the Mile High City. I live outside of Leadville, Colorado, which is at 10,200 feet in altitude, so technically about 2 miles high. This is the summer before my senior year of high school, and I went on a missions trip to Ecuador, and on that trip, I decided that I wanted to learn Spanish, and I wanted to work with, or I wanted to help people, right? So my first job out of college was at a nonprofit organization where I was working with Spanish-speaking women who were victims of domestic violence. I heard such a touching job, and yet in the first year I was there, I knew I was not made to work with the clients. I had a really hard time in that role, but I found that where I really excelled was on the organizational side of things. I got into grant writing, was helping with fundraising, and found kind of what I was truly meant to do behind the scenes. 18 years ago, I was pregnant with my son. This is my daughter. I was working in that organization, and I wanted so badly to work remotely. I wanted to be home with my kids, and back then, now I say that, and we all think that remote work is just common, right? But back then, it wasn't a thing. Remote wasn't a term that we even used for it. Work from home jobs were not easy to find. But I was really, really lucky, and I found this job working at a publishing company, and I got to work from home and build my career, again, from behind the scenes. My boss there is on the right, and he was the idea person. He was a visionary. I was helping him bring his ideas to life, and I was really good at that. I was good at being behind the scenes and helping somebody else accomplish their dreams. When I knew it was time to leave that company, it was time, I'd been there 10 years, I found what I would call my dream job. This was me with my boss, so that doesn't tell you enough right there. I got to travel the world, I got to build a team, and I spent another 7, 8 years helping somebody else build their dream and accomplish their goals. And on October 30th last year, I did this photo shoot. I had been dreaming about 2 Mile High Marketing and this company that I wanted to grow. I did this photo shoot with a friend, no real plans to start a company. It was just a dream at that time. But I was thinking about it, and I wanted to kind of elevate my brand. I had a personal brand that I was growing online. I wanted to kind of step it up. So we did this shoot. Again, I said it was October 30th. And on October 31st, I went to work, and I was laid off. And that was a moment that I knew I had to make a decision, that I could look for jobs and I could continue being the person behind the person, or I could finally step into the spotlight and bet on myself. In 6 months, so I told you this was October, not even a year ago. In 6 months, I had replaced my corporate income, and I had hired 3 people to work with me on the team. I know it's an accomplishment, and yet still sometimes I forget that, right? But it was. I mean, I know that I grew something really fast, and it's continuing to grow. And I think about what was the key to that success. And to me, what I think I did really well at the very beginning was I leaned into my own thought leadership. I leaned into the value that I could bring to people. And I really finally understood it and started sharing that with the world. So I want to talk about why thought leadership is so important, the 3 pillars of thought leadership for anyone who's wanting to develop their thought leadership platform, and how to start building your personal brand. So I mentioned in that publishing job that I just knew after 10 years it was time to leave. And I felt like this rose. I had no professional network. The company, I would call it introverted. We just didn't interact with people outside of the company. We didn't go to networking events. I just had no presence. And I feel like I wasn't giving that rose the nurturing that it needed, the water, the nutrients to grow. And I learned from that. This was in 2007. And I learned from that, 2017. I had been there 10 years. I started in 2007. So in 2017, I knew that this was not the way to grow my career, that I had to change things. I want to tell you a story about John. So I'm telling you about my personal journey, but John here is someone I got to work with. John is an accountant. He had been in a large accounting firm. He had been there for 30 years, his entire career. He was 60 years old at the time, and he came to me and he said, I want to be the person who brings virtual CFO services to law firms. John's an accountant. He knows his stuff. He knows accounting. He knows law firms. He has several law firm clients. But he wanted to become known. He wanted that to be the legacy that he left behind in his firm when he was going to retire in a few years. But he didn't have much of a presence online. He just wasn't developing that. He'd been in one firm for 30 years. So I helped John. I came up with a plan for him. We helped optimize his LinkedIn. So I don't have the before picture, but you can imagine a sad, boring LinkedIn page. We helped him optimize his LinkedIn. We helped him write a book. We helped him start making presence at events, having a booth, and then eventually speaking and developing some infographic leadership, thought leadership type content for LinkedIn. John came to me about a year after I was working with him, and he said, I went to an event, people were coming up to me saying, you're the guy with the book. They were recognizing him for those things that we were putting out there. John already was the expert, but we were helping people see that. There we go. So 65% of people in this survey, which the source is the bottom, I think it is, but you can't see it. But 65%, it was an Edelman LinkedIn thought leadership survey. And 65% of people said that one piece of thought leadership content significantly changed their perception of or perspective of a company for the better. That's how powerful thought leadership content is. When you're sharing that, people see it and they see you as the expert and your company as the expert. So I want to talk about the 3 pillars of thought leadership. And if you're somebody who is wanting to lean into your own thought leadership and your own unique value and what you can bring to the world, these are the 3 things to be focused on and thinking about. First is visibility. I have here LinkedIn because a lot of my clients are focused on LinkedIn. I'm sensing from a lot of people that I've connected with so far that your platform might be something different. It might be Instagram. Might be something else, TikTok if you're a video person. So whatever that platform is, you can replace with the LinkedIn there. But visibility is about getting in front of your target audience. So some of the ways that you might do that are speaking events, podcast interviews, your LinkedIn or your social media platform. And I have the word promotion there because it's not about posting something one time or going and doing one event, but it's about constantly, I'm looking at you because we were just talking about how you feel like you're constantly promoting yourself. That's what I'm telling you to do. So when you have a new book or you're promoting your business, it feels self-indulgent a bit, but there's so many opportunities to repurpose the content that you're doing and continually get that message out there. These are some of the pieces of content that we developed for some of my clients. On the left side is Ken. Ken's a virtual CMO also. And Ken often does podcast interviews. And we turn those podcast interviews into brief little clips that we can share on social media. So if you think about it, you do a 30-minute podcast interview, there's probably dozens of 1-minute clips that can be pulled and repurposed. I'm seeing some nods, yeah. And then we branded it, put a little blurb at the top. Miki is another one of my clients there who, she writes blog posts, and she does a great job at writing blog posts. We then can turn her blog posts into something like this, which is a carousel post, which people want to scroll through. You're educating them, you're providing them with something of value, and they want to read more. I have my picture there. I've been, since day one, on this journey, before I started my company, I was sharing this journey with my LinkedIn audience, and people were there to cheer me on. Shannon has become one of my friends on LinkedIn, has become another cheerleader for me. But it's not just about people being excited for my path, but it's also about, I'm sharing about that, and people are learning about what I'm doing, what I'm offering, how I can help them. Oh, and the last one, was the video there. If you're the kind of person, and I've met several of you now, or seen several of you speaking, where you are the kind of people who can record a video of yourself in 1 minute answering a question, something that your target client comes up to you and asks you, that's a great question that you can turn into video content and share that. I'm jealous of you if that's the case, because that is very challenging for me, but if you could do it, it's a great way to get more visibility. Credibility. So this is pillar number 2. It's not just about getting in front of your audience, but it's about how you show up. So when I was thinking about this, I didn't come here today in my pajamas for a reason, right? How you show up and the presence that you have is really important. I have some content pieces to share here too, but before I do, I want to say, we have the saying, don't judge a book by its cover. And in the publishing industry, we would tell people, don't listen to that, because people absolutely judge a book by its cover. I think the stat is actually that people make a decision in 7 seconds whether or not they want to read a book. You are the cover of your book, right? You have to show up in a way that people know that you're the expert, or see that you're the expert, and that's the decision they're going to make in that 7 seconds, and they know that you can help them. So again, content pieces here, because this is easiest to show here, but another example, and many of you are here doing this today, of building credibility is going out and speaking. So that's speaking at events, speaking, how you're able to get in front of your target audience and teach them something that's going to help establish your credibility. Some of the content pieces I have here, thought pieces, so long form LinkedIn messages where you're sharing a story, something that you did with a client that you can turn into a teaching moment for other people. Case studies and infographics are also great ways of sharing a story of something you did with a client, again, and how other people are going to see that and say, oh, I bet she can help me with that, right? Courses, if you have the type of business, and again, as I'm getting a sense of the people in the room, many of you have the type of business where you can have a course. You can put together a course and teach people something. Those are great ways to establish your credibility. And then Dawn, I'm going to tell you a quick story about Dawn. So Dawn is in my Author Power Circle. I have a community for women who are in the process of writing a book. And she actually took my course to write her book. I was telling you, this is my client, that she took this course to write this book because her mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And as a therapist, she was looking for the book that would speak to that emotional need that she was having for understanding. Like she wasn't finding that book that was out there. So she decided to write it. And within a few days, weeks maybe, of that book coming out, Dawn was asked to speak at an Alzheimer's fundraiser event. She was asked to be interviewed. She was interviewed by her local news station. And she was asked to do a local book signing. And I believe that all of those things came together for Dawn because she was sharing her true message with the world. That thing that she wanted to get that message out, and she was authentic, and she was genuine in her need to help other people on that path. And that book is now what makes her credible. And Anna just said, tell her to contact me about speaking at an event that I'm doing pretty soon. So I was like, I will absolutely connect you. All right, and pillar number 3 is consistency. So I have this quote here, 80% of marketing is simply reminding people that you exist. I had a client a few years ago who used to say that all the time, and it's like my favorite quote, because there's nothing truer about marketing. I can share something with you today, and you may not have any need for what I'm sharing with you. But 6 months from now, that might be the case, right? A year from now, that might be the case. But if I do one post and never share anything again, or one speaking event and never show up again, you're not going to remember me at that time. I have some recommendations here for consistency and how you can show up in a way that's consistent. I'm going to share these with you now, don't panic. So I suggest posting to LinkedIn 2 to 3 times a week, doing podcast interviews at least twice a month, 2 to 3 times a month, and speaking at least, I think I heard a what? And speaking at least once per quarter, more if you're able. Now, if you're looking at that and saying, what? Like, who has time for that? Start where you are. It's more important to start where you are than to get overwhelmed and not do anything, right? So if you can commit to 1 post per week for LinkedIn, start with that, right? But these are what I recommend working your way up to. Content frameworks. So I'm going to skip this because I know we're getting close on time, but these content frameworks, I've got 5 of them for you. These are a great way to kind of train or trigger your brain to come up with ideas for sharing things on LinkedIn. And so I see you taking a photo of this, so I have one to share with you, but on the next slide, I've got a QR code so you can access 5 of them. And this is not gated, so you don't have to give me your contact information. I'm not going to send you 500 emails for the rest of your life. These are successful to you. And if you didn't capture it but want it, just connect with me and I can get that to you. And then last on building your personal brand, I talked about that me bringing my unique value out to the world finally. I believe what I tapped into there is my authority X factor. So I want you to take a minute to grab a piece of paper, whatever you have handy, put a note in your phone, whatever it is. I want you to think about what your unique authority X factor is. We all have competitors, right? We all have competitors out there who are offering something similar. But what makes you different than those competitors, and why should somebody choose you over that person or those people? And then I want you to, in the next networking break, tell a friend, tell somebody at your table what your authority X factor is. And you can come up and find me. I want you to tell me as well. Okay? Here's a challenge for you. And then finally, I'm going to leave you with this. I have this thought leadership scorecard. So if you are somebody who's wanting to grow your thought leadership platform, this is a 3-minute quiz you can take that's going to tell you kind of where you stand as a thought leader and some of those things that you might want to work on if you want to develop that.
Thank you.
Thank you.